Mary Ann from Coastal Love and Decor. So I'm working on this piece. I have it laid out. This was the mermaid that I made a mold from to make this piece. So that's where she came from. If you guys want to make one of these, I do sell these in my Etsy shop if you want to make one for yourself. I sell the mermaids. So but anyways, so I got it all laid out. So what I basically did was take crushed shell and brown pebbles and put it as my shoreline. And then I took emerald glass, and that's my ocean. So I got that going on. And then I took clear glass and sprinkled all around the rest of the frame. Obviously, I've added shells, and now I'm going to add the resin. Now on this frame, it was really distressed. And actually I did another piece and I keep looking at it and it's just too distressed. I don't mind a little bit of distress, but some of it I don't like. So I've already repainted the frame on one and I'm going to do another one. But that's what I did here. I painted the frame and taped off the back. So that's for letting the newbies know what I'm doing here. So I got my resin all mixed up. It says I should probably need about 4.5 ounces for this frame. This is a bigger frame. Okay, so I'm going to take off these shells because I want to get underneath here. So I'm just going to take off these and hopefully they go back the way I want. Okay, so I've added my shells and my starfish. I have a abalone shell here, and these, I think this is from Flagler Beach. I just don't, I have so many shells. Sometimes I just don't, I was putting them in bags and labeling them, and I just got so many shells, so I can't tell you the names of all of them, but I've got a lot of shells. Anywho, so let's start. I'm going to start here first, and I'm just going to drizzle along the edge. And you know, over the crushed pearlized shell and the emerald glass. Whoops, I got a glob there. I don't want a glob there. So I definitely want to get this all on here so it stays in place and not come off. And I'm getting close to her tail. So it looks like I'm getting this pretty well covered, so I can start laying some of my shells. But I want to clean up this little blob on the side where I went over a little bit. I'll just take a Q-tip and just push it back in. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to lay the Mexican scallop shell right there. And I'm just going to give it a little push to get some of that resin on it. Now if I can remember how I had this laid out, and then I'm going to put this, I think this one here. I don't want to cover that with resin. I may cover these smaller ones with resin. And I believe this one was here. And this one was here. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to cover this small one here. And you know, if you don't want to cover it, just go around it. I'm not going to cover this one, but I'm going to go around it so that it attaches to the base. Okay, let me do another drizzle here. And I know I had this up in here. So I'm just going to push it a little bit. I am going to put a pearl on that. And I had this here. Push that in just a smidge. This shell here went right here. And I have a piece here that should go in there. I had the abalone or abalone here. And I think this was here. And I think this was here. But if not, that's where it's going. So I'm going to cover this little one here. And I think I'm just going to cover this one here. And I'm going to go around the abalone. Like so. I want it to kind of attach to that shell. And let's go around the shell here. And I'm going to put just a little drop in there, and that's too much for my pearl that I'm going to put in here. If you've been watching me for a while, you guys know I use, I make sure there's starfish and at least a pearl in my pieces. All right, so I'm going to get in her arm right here. Without dripping it on her. You know, that doesn't always work out that way. I usually end up dripping on my pieces. But no worries, I can clean it up. Okay. Now we're just going to go and start going around her. Just like so. All right, now I'm going to go around the outside of the frame. Now, like I said, this said it should take 4.5. I do have 5. I mixed up 5, but I always have a mold ready in case there's extra. So now I'm going to fill in around all the glass. So your resin is self-leveling, so it'll all come out, all covered. Okay, and this is, see, now I can see it's not all the way to the, I'm dripping here, the frame, so I'm pushing it in. I can move the glass again, but you want to make sure you get along that frame because you don't want no empty spot in there. All right, so I can move my glass around. Just want to make sure. I'm going to go over to the other side. Let me check this here. Yeah, see, here we go. We need more along the edge there. And actually, I'm just going to run a little bit more here. And then I'm going to go to the other side. So I can see down here much better. Yeah, see? I need to go in here. I should have put a piece of paper, colored paper underneath this. You could see better. I want to check her out, make sure there's some right there. Kind of push it against her side so that that resin adheres to the body. And that looks good. And now I'll go back to the other side. That's looking good so far. Grab a Q-tip because I got a drip here. And I got one here. So I haven't sealed my frame yet. So if I need to touch up with the paint, I will put a coat of sealer on it. I do it all. I do my piece and do that after sometimes. All right, that looks pretty good. Still have just a little bit in there. Oh, I still got more there. And then I'm going to take the heat gun to it. Yeah, I'll have to touch this up a little bit before I seal it. Okay, I'm going to take the heat gun to it. Oh, I got to get my pearl out. Let me grab that. Here they are. So I can put that in there. I kind of think, well, let's see, it'll just look like there's water in it. So I'm going to drop that in there. I may drop a few in here too. But let me take my heat gun to it so that if there's any bubbles, we can get them popped. Check and make sure I didn't miss any spots. Sometimes with the glass, the clear glass, you can't tell, but this is a spot here I missed. And now's the time to move your glass if you want it moved. I've got a spot here. Yeah, I wish I would have put a colored piece of paper underneath this so I can see if I missed any spots. Believe me, it's happened where I thought it was all covered. And then when, see? And then when I looked at it outside the next day, I said, I missed a spot. Which I can add UV resin in the spot or mix up some more and fill in the spot that maybe I missed. But yeah, if you put a colored piece of paper underneath, I think it helps more. I think. Yep, right there. And I think that looks good. See, I'm catching little spots. And I know I had there's plenty of resin. Okay. Do I have, there's a spot right there. Yeah. So, I think we got it all. I hope it did. But like I said, if I missed a little spot, if I see one tomorrow after it's cured, I can put a little UV resin in there to let's move that piece up here a little bit. Okay, I'm going to spray this with some alcohol, and I have a piece sticking out here. I'm just going to go back and push on this just a little. Same with this one. The ones that I didn't cover with resin, I'm just going to push it in there a little, make sure they're in there good. I really never had a piece fall off. You know, maybe one of these little tiny things, which no biggie, but I've never had a shell fall off. Okay. So, I'm going to let this sit overnight, and we'll do a picture tomorrow outside so you can see how this came out. And I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to catch my video. I hope it helps you out or gives you some ideas. I appreciate all my subscribers, all the people that comment, and if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. I would thoroughly appreciate it. All right, you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.